I was at Pottery Barn this weekend and saw some really gorgeous home decor items, but Pottery Barn is expensive and I knew I could make some of these for way less. So let's see how I did with these Pottery Barn dupes. The first Pottery Barn dupe is this really pretty tray. I had a fun little trip to my local Dollar Tree and saw this new section with $3 and $5 items. They had a wooden tray that I thought would work for this Pottery Barn dupe. I'm going to make mine rectangular instead of round, but it will have the same look and feel as the Pottery Barn one. This tray is really well made and sturdy, definitely a good deal for $5. Let's take this black paint, and you can get paints like these at Dollar Tree, and we're going to paint the sides and make sure to get all the edges really well. Go back with a smaller brush to get those corners. It's okay that we're getting a little paint on the open area in the middle because we'll be covering that up with the design, and just in case the paper doesn't fit perfectly, having that little edge of paint will help finish off the edges nicely. So I hopped onto my computer to turn this circular pattern into a rectangular one. Then I printed this out in 2 pieces since my printer only prints up to letter size pieces of paper. We'll trim the paper so that the center of the design butts up next to each other seamlessly. You can find Mod Podge at Dollar Tree, but I have this waterproof one, and since I will be using this in the kitchen, I thought it would be perfect for this project in case a drink spills on the tray. I brushed a bit of the Mod Podge and then smoothed out the paper. Do this for both sides and then wait 30 minutes until it's dry before painting more Mod Podge on top. I also painted the inside sides of the tray so it would have a seamless look. Sometimes the Mod Podge leaves a little bit of a sheen, even the matte versions, and I didn't want any spots showing on that black paint, so finishing off the entire inside with Mod Podge ended up giving this a really nice finished look. So I've been on a roll with the dupes for the last couple videos. I did Kirkland's and then Ballard's last week, and this week I'm doing Pottery Barn. So I'm going to be doing a compilation video of a bunch of other dupes that I've also done, and I'm going to put that up next week. I just love sharing crafts and home DIYs, so you can get lots of ideas to find your inner artist. Please consider subscribing if you like home decor inspiration, and you can also be part of this uplifting and creative community here on Artsy Cupcake. So here were the supplies we had to pick up at Dollar Tree, and here's the comparison of mine to the Pottery Barn one. What do you guys think? I loved the look of these vases. They had a lot of these kind of aged looking vases at the store. I wanted to recreate that look of just the right amount of distressing, so I used an old vase I already had. Now they do sell glass vases at Dollar Tree, so you could pick one up for $1 over there if you don't have one sitting around. Start by giving the vase a flat white coat of spray paint. This will help our acrylic paint stick better to the glass. I'm starting by brushing some off-white paint in a circular motion around the vase to give it a little bit of a streak type texture. I ended up adding a few little specks of brown and black and blended them in just to give this that antique look. You can find leather looking ribbon at Dollar Tree, but I didn't have any luck finding it at mine this time, so I'm just going to use this leftover faux leather that we used to recover our piano bench. I'm adding a little black paint to distress it a bit because that's the way the Pottery Barn version looked. I'm just using a paper towel and dabbing the black paint around to make it look a little worn and not so brand new. You can find these little rounded stickers at Dollar Tree. They were originally blue, but I had spray painted them flat white, and now I'm just painting a few black. The flat white spray paint just gives it a surface for your acrylic paint to stick to. This really helps when you're working with slippery surfaces like glass or plastic. I trimmed up that faux leather into strips and then glued it together. You have to work in small sections with the hot glue on this because it does dry quickly on the fabric. I used a Sharpie to color the edges of the fabric so it would look consistent around all sides and you wouldn't see any of those rough edges. Use some hot glue to secure the straps to the sides of the vase. I thought these might come off easily and I may have to use a stronger glue like E6000, but they stuck on there really well and I could even lift the vase up with just the handles. Here were the supplies we had to pick up at Dollar Tree. And here's a comparison of mine to the Pottery Barn one. This was such a low-cost project for that high-end look. I thought this was such a pretty way to display a candle, so let's make our own version for way less than $80. So I'm trying something new here today. We'll see how this works out. It seems kind of weird and like something you would do in kindergarten, but we're going to create DIY plaster of Paris out of flour and water. I've read Elmer's glue and water is another way to make plaster of Paris. But I want to get a nice thick coating and a textured look like the Pottery Barn one, so we'll be trying out the flour and water version. I mixed flour and warm water until I got a thick consistency, then just smeared this onto the Dollar Tree charger, and I had already painted that for another project, but I think it was originally silver. This texture already reminds me of some of those vases I saw at Pottery Barn. This is how it looks after a couple hours, and it's starting to dry in a few places. You can see it looks a little bit lighter in those sections. Around 24 hours later, it's really hard in most areas. It did crack a little in some areas, but this really gives it a natural handmade vase look, which I think will look great after some paint. I'll let the rest finish drying for 24 to 48 hours. I saw this porcelain dish at Dollar Tree and thought the lid might work nicely for the round stand that the candle will sit on. Then I remembered I had found this porcelain dish in the Target dollar spot and think it will work even better. I will spray paint both of these gold and then attach them with E6000 and let them dry overnight. I have this candle that is white and will look similar to the one in the Pottery Barn inspiration photo. I I hope you were inspired to make one or more of these copycats. Don't forget to subscribe for more home decor ideas every week, and check out the other dupes I've made for more inspiration. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a creative day. Bye!